Welcome to our studio space. We are so excited to have you all here, and we're going to be using this space to have sit-down conversations and be able to talk all things regarding Michigan politics, the culture, and how that pertains to politics, what it means to be conservative. And we're super excited to have lots of different guest speakers on, especially the legislators that will come in who are working in Lansing, and they'll be able to tell you exactly what their day-to-day looks like, what kind of bills they're working on, what they're trying to pass, the changes that they're trying to make in their community, and how they're trying to better the state of Michigan. We're super excited to be having these conversations. And in your opinion, why do you think having these long form sit down conversations is so important, especially in the political climate of today?
I think it's really important to have these long form conversations because, well, the short form content that we do is great and it is able to reach a lot of people and provide a lot of context in that short amount of time. I feel like a lot of the things that we have to talk about are very nuanced and require a little bit more airtime, just require more freedom to actually sit down, let it breathe, and actually have a true conversation about it. I think a lot of things we talk about deserve a more of a conversation than just a video getting blasted out about it. I think there's just lots of different angles and lots of different variations to a lot of these things.
I actually couldn't agree more that a lot of the conversations that we need to be having in the future are, or even right now, are incredibly nuanced, and there's lots of moving parts to certain things. And we oftentimes, I mean, the short form content that you all see when we're talking about things, we have to limit ourselves to like under usually a minute and a half. If it's more than a minute and a half, it's like people kind of tune out. And while that content is needed, very needed for pressing issues, for matters that happen, that are like breaking news and whatnot. We want as many people to see the breaking news as possible, but we also want to have the opportunity to actually really dive into these topics and to explore all of their depths, all of their meanings. And when we make a short form video, say about public safety or something like that, we're only telling you the thing that happened, and we don't get to have the opportunity to kind of go a little bit more into the weeds about, well, why is this set up like this? Who's actually behind doing these things? We can do that on a very, blanket level that gets the gist of it. But I mean, I would love to have the weedy conversations where we try to avoid when we're on the short form platforms. But for the long form, I think that it will be really good. Our audience will respond well to it. I know that you have brought this up before we actually had like any sit downs and whatnot before about how Democrats and Republicans, even though the media and social media especially would like you to think that we are completely polar opposites and that Democrats and Republicans being very similar is something that, well, that was like the 90s. That was the 90s and early 2000s. But after that, Democrats and Republicans don't have anything in common. Specifically, where everyday Americans don't have anything in common because they either fall into one group, which is Democrats, or another group, which is Republicans. And we rarely have a shared culture anymore. You were telling me that you don't think that that's true at all. So tell me a little bit more about that and then explain why, again, long form conversations help that message get out of that we're really not that different, and a lot of our beliefs, we're looking towards the same goals, we just have different policy disagreements like we did in the 90s. That's disappeared, I feel like, narratively I should say, but I still think that holds true, and I know you do. So
Yeah, so um, obviously I feel there's extremes on each end. No matter what we're talking about, there's always going to be an extreme side to it. But the general population, the general people, we're just normal people. We just have our certain opinions. And I feel like I've met and know enough people from both walks of life, from both sides, that I can pretty much guarantee that all of us have very common core values, and we just differ on a few things here and there. And I think it gets blown out of proportion. I think it gets pushed to the extremes because of all of this social media and all the stuff that we just get pushed at us through the media in general. And I think having a conversation like this, having sit downs with people who are of our same values, and we can actually explain how we feel about things and have a longer, in-depth conversation about it. I think that'll definitely help show that like we're not so radically different. We're not this far apart. We're like it's the extremes are the ones that are far apart, and they're far apart from us too. Like we're not that like we're closer to each other than we are to the extremes.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I also think that it's, you kind of bring something up of people with our same values. I think Republicans get painted as this monolith where we all believe the exact same thing and we don't have any differences in opinions on anything and all of this stuff. When I tell you that could not be further from the truth, where there are conversations that I just have with our team, and different people that, are on the Michigan Forward team. We have very different views on a lot of things and different opinions on a lot of things, but we have the same common goal, the same common belief of Michigan is an amazing state. We are grateful to live in Michigan. We love Michigan. Michigan is really struggling right now, on a political level, but we can put any of our differences aside so long as we all believe in the same, basic fundamental realities, of the world. We're able to work together towards that goal of making Michigan an amazing state and having that, spark. Let Michigan get her spark back.
For real. It needs it. We used to be like when I hear stories from my grandpa, and from his time, we used to be one of the most booming states in the United States. Like we were really up there. I don't know the exact number. I'm gonna say top 10. And I know that like losing the auto industry and all of that has really hurt us, but there's got to be a way that we can build Michigan back up. We're not just gonna fall from glory. Like we are a great state at our core. We have so many great things about us. There's no reason to give up on us.
Yeah, and I think even in like the history of Michigan, and my Michigan history is quite limited, so, come at me in the comments if you're like, she's wrong. With the logging industry, Michigan lost that. We were an economic powerhouse, back in the early days. And then we cut down all of our trees and we're like, wait, we need to like preserve what's left. So let's not keep cutting down our trees. So we planted back up and there's a lot of new regrowth and everything of pines. It's not the same as the old growth was, but Michigan was able to not only protect the natural environment of our state and try to revitalize it, but we were also able to pivot into the auto industry specifically. And the auto industry really helped, make Michigan boom. And, we were just like you mentioned, we were just an absolute powerhouse. And you mentioned talking about wanting to bring Michigan back to glory, if you will. And I think that's historically the story of Michigan is the fact that we have gone through lots of different industries, lots of different economic ups and downs and whatnot, but we always come back out on top. I honestly think the story of Detroit is something that's very Michigan. It's this beautiful, shining city, and then lots of things happened, and it is no longer what it used to be. But people didn't give up on Detroit. Detroit is a place where young people are starting to move back into the city and really try to revitalize it. It has amazing history, the art and the music and everything that came out of it. I mean, it's a story of redemption. It's a story of resilience. It's a story of persistence. And I think that on a broader scale, that's what Michigan is. Michigan is always the people of Michigan. Michigan as a state hasn't done anything. The people of Michigan, whether you call them Michiganians or Michiganders, doesn't matter. They're the ones that push forward and always found a way to make this a place that so many generations can call home. And that's what my hope is to make the state better and to be able to have a family and start one here. And yeah, just allow my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids to be able to call Michigan home for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody here really has those same values, and really just we just want Michigan to become as good as we know it can be. And, like, I think that's what comes down to it, and that's why we want to sit down and have these long conversations so that we can talk about the things that are good in Michigan, talk about some of the things that need improvement within Michigan, and talk about how we can improve them. Um, Come up with ideas, just really just have conversations about it and try and figure out what's going on, try and figure out what we can do, talk about those kinds of things, and then hold people accountable, call people out. If people are doing things that are awful for Michigan, people are doing things that just don't make sense, are not for the good of Michigan, we're going to talk about that. We're going to call it out, and we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I couldn't agree more on the fact that the conversation is what's going to be what, if people don't know what's going on, if people don't realize kind of the state that Michigan is in right now, then, they're not going to be able to make informed decisions about making the change that needs to happen, and holding the people that try to, pass this under the radar, hold them accountable. And so we're going to bring that to light, and I'm very excited about that. So we're super excited. Again, I don't know how many times we could say that, but thank you so much for watching this video. Be prepared, okay? Because there's going to be some great, great content coming, great conversations that are going to be had. And we want to just keep everyone informed about what's going on.
So if you like this kind of content, if you want to see more of it, make sure you follow us, give us a like and a comment, and hit that notification bell. Because if you want to be notified anytime that we post something, that'll do it. And in the comments, if you have any topics, anything that you think it needs to be improved in Michigan, let us know, and then we can have a conversation about it.
Absolutely. And follow us on our other social media channels. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Everything but Threads.
Sorry, X, formerly Twitter. Sorry.